IFTTT stands for if this, then that. IFTTT, or IFT if you're one of the cool kids, has been around for a few years, so you may have heard of it already. If not, then it's an important thing to know about if you're interested in making your home and your life really smarter and more automated. So today we're going to talk about what IFTTT is in theory, and also what it is in reality. Let's dive in. So don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy what we do here on this channel, and hit that bell icon because we're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with new videos much like this one. All right, so what is IFTTT? Or, I don't know, am I a cool kid? Should I be calling it IFT? We'll see as we go. Well, in theory, let's talk about what it is in theory. IFTTT, if this, then that. It's a phrase that makes a lot of sense if you're a computer programmer, otherwise you might not have heard it much before, at least in this context. Basically, you set up a condition. That's your if this. Like say, the sun sets is your condition. The then that portion is the result. So in this case, maybe it's turn the porch light on. So you put the two things together and it says, if the sun sets, then turn the porch light on. Each of those formulas is called an applet, at least for IFTTT. You can choose from thousands of pre-made applets, or you can make your own. Simple enough. So that's the concept. IFTTT itself, the brand name thing, is an app. It's available on phones, tablets, laptops, whatever, and it acts as a third-party go-between, a software that lets other software and devices talk to each other when they wouldn't normally be able to do so. For example, the first thing I ever used IFTTT for, well, I use Reddit a lot, but they wouldn't send me a push notification every time there's a new post on a specific subreddit. With IFT, I can tell it to do just that. I just say if there's a new post, then send me a push notification. It ties Reddit and my phone together in a way that they weren't necessarily designed for. Or another social media use case. You ever post a photo to Instagram and then you try to share that post on Twitter, and then Twitter won't share the image, they just share a link and it gets a little bit frustrating? Well, with IFTTT, you can get around that so that every time you post on Instagram, it'll post the same photo to Twitter as well. Great. Now, yeah, I know you can also do that with something like Hootsuite. This is just an example, and it works on the same principle. So what about home automation? Maybe I want to voice control my sprinklers. Fun, right? Well, okay, so then I get the Rain Machine controller that has IFTTT integration. Then I can tell my Google Assistant to turn the sprinklers on or off. Or maybe I'll get the Sky Drop system, and that'll let me set up an applet that says, if the forecast calls for rain, then stop watering for that day. Or I pair my sprinklers with the facial recognition in my doorbell camera so that if my annoying neighbor comes by again, then my sprinklers will turn on and chase him away. So, in theory, this all sounds pretty great, right? In practice, honestly, yeah, it does work. It requires a lot of parts all working together perfectly though, and if just one link in the chain of apps or devices isn't working quite right, the whole thing can break down. That being said, it does generally work pretty much as advertised. What isn't advertised, of course, are the limitations in the system, and there are a few. It's completely cloud-based, so there are lots of commands passing through the IFT servers at the same time. So, if enough people are issuing commands at the same time, bandwidth issues could cause some lag. Now, a physical hub, like the SmartThings hub, could solve for that since it does all the computing locally on a device in your home. But honestly, this hasn't been much of a problem for me with IFT, because I'm not a really heavy user. That if you get really into IFT though, this could be an issue. Also, IFTTT only allows for a single step. So other competing software sometimes allows for 2 or 3 step commands. For example, if I enter a new event on my Google Calendar, I want a reminder sent to me in Slack, and I want my Philips Hue light bulb to turn red for some reason. I don't know, whatever you want to do with it. But in some competing systems, like Zapier for example, you can set those multi-step commands and they're built right in. With IFTTT, you have to program a separate applet for each and every command. And finally, the compatibility list of devices and apps that work with IFTTT is changing all the time, and that doesn't necessarily mean that it's constantly improving. For example, as of about a month ago, Nest devices no longer work with IFT. So if you were counting on that stuff to work for you, well, too bad, poof, it's gone. So what gives? Well, obviously Google wants you on their Google Assistant platform, and that sort of shuffling happens fairly frequently. So, is IFTTT the best option for home automation? Probably not. IFTTT is, in my opinion, better for mostly web-based applications. Social media, emails, calendars, so on. For actual products in your home, if you're trying to build a smart home, I'd probably steer you more toward a physical hub, like the Samsung SmartThings or any number of security systems that have a hub built right in. They work with things like Zigbee and Z-Wave, kind of on the same principle, but on a different type of network that's more localized, maybe a little better for what we're trying to do with smart home stuff. So hit the comments below and let me know what your favorite applets are or commands that you've used with IFTTT, or if it's something that you plan on using in the future. And don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe if it was helpful to you. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time.